Okay. Okay, we are live. Good night, good night. We're going to give it a few minutes for persons to sign on. Welcome to Boss Lady Live. It's Monday night again, but Boss Lady Live, where we discuss issues, mature subjects that concern us all. We want to grow, we want to improve, we want to be happy individuals living our best lives. So tonight, we're going to be talking about sexual equity, sexual equality. Is there such a thing? We discuss this tonight with Dr. Karen Carpenter. You know, it's a challenge for many women, but Dr. Karen Carpenter, you know, being the person that she is and the type of I don't want to say career that she chose, she will just let us know that there is only ourselves that are holding us back. It's only ourselves, as she said to me a few days ago. But I'm telling her that the challenge is real. The challenge is real because we are brought up in this society that has two different standards, one for males and one for females. But it's for us as adults to claim our power, I suppose, and, you know, not have this guilt that many of us have because we were either brought up in the church or were brought up to believe that men, the expectation of males is X and the expectations of females is Y. Okay, so let us start because we're 2 minutes in. So welcome, Dr. Carpenter. It's my pleasure to have you. You know, you're one of my favorite persons. I mean, you make me want to be brave.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
I've been to a course of yours, and I mean, I learned so much from that course. You know, it's funny when you're not looking in a particular direction as to why you have certain issues. You know, you normally blame whether it's your father or your mother, and sometimes you blame one parent and it's really another. And then as adults, we really need to just let go and just be ourselves. So let me introduce Dr. Karen Carpenter. I'm sure most of you know her, but for those of you who don't, as this is an international platform, we want to introduce Dr. Karen Carpenter. She's the head of the Institute of Gender and Development Studies at the UWI Mona. She is a licensed counseling psychologist in Jamaica and a Florida board certified clinical sexologist. So you know we're getting the good stuff tonight. Dr. Carpenter also runs the Caribbean Sexuality Research Group, CSRG, clinic at the University Hospital of the West Indies. Her books include Love and Sex, The Basics, Questioning Caribbean Jewish Identity, Interweaving Tapestries of Sexuality and Culture and Language, Race and the Global Jamaican. Dr. Carpenter is the host of Love and Sex on Facebook. You can watch live on Tuesdays, 9 o'clock. That's 9 o'clock Jamaica time, right?
That's correct.
To 10:15 p.m. Welcome, Dr. Carpenter.
Wow, I almost don't recognize myself, but thank you.
Okay, so I run a men's spas,
Yes.
and we have some really riveting conversations on the differences between males and females, especially in our sexuality. And I mean, a lot of the males sometimes complain or state that because, they're not getting what they want at home, they have to go elsewhere. I don't know if it's an excuse or they call it, that's their nature. So
Mm.
a lot of us women who don't want to share because a lot of us want to catch up to the modern style of living. There's a whole different lifestyle from when we grew up, that the youngsters are living now. So I'm dating myself because I'm 56. So I grew up in a single parent home, and grew up in the church, kind of rigid. My mother didn't speak to me really about sex. And that's many of us in that I know as my friends, especially persons who grew up and was steeped in religion. They grow up, thinking that sex is dirty, or sex is only for the man, or sex is not really for pleasure, but to have children, and all of those issues. So I would like for you to just one demystify all of that and just let us know that, well, you tell me what should be the what should I say, expectation as adults,
Mm.
living our lives freely. Um, should I remove religion or keep religion in? It's up to you. I'm leaving the floor open to you because, various different people have different views based on religion and based on not being religious. So you can let's just open the floor and just give us an overview of what your thoughts and your views are on the topic.
Well, as you mentioned, Sandra, many people grow up in religious households of one sort or another. And
Yes.
Jamaicans might be shocked to find out that it is not a Christian country. Jamaica
Right.
is not a Christian country. In fact, Jamaica is a civil society. We're not a religious country, but 62.4% of the population have written down in the 2011 census that they are Christians. So
Right.
only 62.4% of the population say that they belong to a Christian church. The
Right.
other 48.6%, almost 50%, do not claim Christianity as their religion. So I think we tend to overblow the influence of Christianity in our
Mhm.
life in Jamaica, because even that 62%, they may have inherited their religion from their parents. They may not have,
Absolutely.
they may
I
not
was
have,
about to say that because most times we're filling out a form. You'll fill out Christianity because you were baptized or
yes.
confirmed. Like, for example, my mother, I was confirmed in a Methodist church, but I
Right.
really don't practice going to a Methodist church right now. So many of us who are writing now are
Mhm.
speaking when we were a baby, pretty
Absolutely.
much. Yes.
Also, we're speaking about our parents' religion, not ours. Because we
Absolutely.
didn't have a choice if we were children and we were baptized.
Mhm.
As we get older, we make choices. But religion is an important part of many people's lives. So I don't
Right.
want to ignore it. And if your worldview includes religious dictates or religious precepts, then that's going to factor into everything in your life, including your sexuality.
Right.
And if the folks who are religious in their practice are not having a problem with their sexuality. The folks who are religious are following the dictates of the religious orders. Yes? It's the folks who
I'm going to disagree with you, but continue.
the folks who
Continue.
inherited their religion from their
Yes.
parents,
Yes.
the ones who grew up and said, no, this is not for me, or not all of this is for me. Those
Right.
are the ones having the challenges. If you accept everything the church says to you, then you're not having a challenge. You're living according to what the church tells you.
Okay. All
When
right.
you
So,
do
all right. So let me just, so let me
what
just, well, let me just stick up it, and let me say to the viewers,
the church
guys, we only have an hour. Doc has to run off after an hour, so please, any questions that you have, please don't wait until it's too late to ask your questions. And
Mhm.
please remember to like and share, and subscribe. Invite your friends because this is a really important conversation that we are having. Okay, so let me give you a scenario then, Doc.
Mhm.
So I've been in conversations where this person is a friend of mine. She's steeped
Yeah,
in the church,
yeah,
and so blocked she blocked off her mind off of opening up her knowledge,
yes,
in terms of reading, because she
sure.
saw anything that had to do with sex as bordering on
No,
porn,
no. Right. Mm-hmm.
right? As bordering on porn. However, now fast forward how many years later in her adulthood, because she
Yes.
really grew up in a heavily religious, that how heavy-handed religious
Right.
background,
Hardcore religious. Right.
right? Hardcore religious. So now that she maybe not she well not maybe she's not being satisfied personally, physically, and
Okay.
now she's feeling like she wants to find out what is,
Okay.
in conversation with her, but
Right.
she's still steeped in religion, but
Mm.
she knows that she's not being fulfilled.
Okay.
And so there is guilt, there
Oh,
is a challenge with, you know putting aside all that you know from zero to
absolutely.
now, that
Absolutely.
kind of thing. That's what I'm talking
So
about.
she's beginning with a disenchantment with
Right,
religion. Yes?
right,
So she's no longer the obedient sheep following the pastor, following what the church says. She has discovered that she has a mind of her own and that she is in charge of her body. So I'm not speaking about that person who is having an awakening. I'm speaking
okay.
about the people who are just following along and saying, I'm going to be a good girl, a good girl, a good girl. Those are actually the minority. A
So you're saying,
majority,
what you're saying, let me understand, is that most people who are steeped in religion just stick to the religious um dictate of what the church says is to be,
no,
and
I'm
don't
saying
really
the
venture
opposite.
out.
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that a minority, a small number, stick to everything that the church tells them.
Oh, okay.
Most of us are thinking people, and most
Right,
of us growing up, and most of us experience life. And so, as we experience life, we begin to change from what was told to us to what we now experience. And we
right,
have these awakenings and say, but hold on a minute here. If this thing is supposed to be so, and I'm experiencing it this way, then why is
right,
that happening? And
right,
now we have the challenge, you see, because now we have to decide for ourselves what's good for me as opposed to what's good for the church. And those
right.
are a majority of people within the church. I keep saying church is for sinners, church is not for saints. Yes? We
Mhm.
go to church because we believe that we're not doing as well as we could do. If you're convinced that you're living a saintly life, you're not going to need to go to church at all.
You think so?
I
I
think
go
so.
to, I go to church because I just want to stay. I like to hear the message and to
Right?
kind of stay centered,
To stay on track.
to
But
stay
a
on
person
track.
who is on track by themselves doesn't need to go to church.
I see what you're saying.
The church is there to remind us of our communal duty and
Right,
our community of fellow worshippers, etc. And that
mhm,
helps us to toe the line. But
right.
if you're towing the line already, you don't need to go to church. It's not
I get
necessary.
what you're
You're
saying.
already
I
towing the
get what you're
line.
saying. Well, there's community. There's
Right.
communing with like minds. There's
We're
sharing. There is,
for the community.
getting
You know what?
another perspective from your
Right.
fellow church members. That kind of thing. There's perceived growth.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
And
yes,
human
all of
beings
that.
are social beings. So we like to be around each other.
Right,
But we shouldn't mistake our social attraction to being around each other for our godliness, holiness, sanctity, or any of the other things that people profess that it means. You can't become saintly by going to church. You become saintly by doing saintly things.
right. Okay, get you. All right,
All right. So I don't think we should look at the observance on the outside to
right.
understand what is happening with the person on the inside. On the inside, that very person who is coming every single day to church may be having the biggest sinful thoughts, and that's why they're in church every day.
Trying to control.
Trying to exercise some social control over their individual behavior. Yes?
I never really looked at it that way
Yeah.
before.
It's not because they're holier than you. It's because they need the church more.
Okay, I get you. All right. So from from day one,
Yes.
we have what I know you don't believe in. I think in our discussion, you were saying I can't remember clearly, but
Mm.
like you were saying that in terms of cheating, because
Mm-hmm.
marriage is
Mm-hmm.
of the church, right? Let us explain what. Can you explain the definition of marriage in your context?
Okay, so marriage is not of the church. Marriage is a
Mm-hmm.
contract in Western society between two persons and the state.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the church. The church is a venue. And if you want to prove that,
Mm-hmm.
try going back to the church for a divorce. They have no power over the dissolution of marriage.
You have
And
to
they
go to the lawyer.
have no power over the formation of a marriage. The
I
person
get you.
who marries you within the church, if he or she is a priest and they're not a marriage officer of the state, they cannot marry you. They can have a nice service, they can say a lot of pretty things, we can sing some hymns, but you're not married. But that same person can go on the beach and perform the marriage rites that the registry office performs, and you're married. Marriage is a state institution. It is not a church institution. It happens in a venue called the church for those people who are religious. But for the other people, it happens wherever. But it must be performed by a marriage officer of the country that you live in.
All right. And so the vows which you take, based on my understanding, is between one man and one woman. So if someone steps out of the marriage, isn't that cheating or quote unquote cheating?
So let's go back to the vows.
Yes.
The vows, there are at least 14 different vows.
Yes.
If you have marriage vows, you'll find many. And if you attend weddings, you'll see that different people say different vows. In fact, people even make up their own vows now. Yes? So the vows are not essential to the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What is essential is that certificate that you get. Now it's a big piece of pretty paper. It has your names on it, and it has the marriage officer, and it has the state that you're married in. It has your occupation, your marital status, and your partners, and occupation. It has nothing to do with any vows. If you look at the back of that paper, you'll see a whole heap of green and pretty, but it will not.
Yeah, but in the context of in the church,
no.
No.
What you did was you said some words, but you did not sign a contract with those words on it. If you rent a place today, if you rent a car, if you go to courts, that thing that they give you to sign have a whole heap of terms on it. The marriage contract is one of the few contracts that people sign that has no agreements on it. Nothing. It doesn't.
But I said it to you and it says in front of God and man.
That is a thing that people say, but it is not on your marriage certificate.
That's but it's a vow. It's a vow. So what is a vow?
A lot of things. Every morning we get up and we vow not to eat carbohydrates, and we break that vow. And every morning
we do it in church. That's a difference.
Why do you think that the church makes a difference?
Because we said it in the context of religion.
No.
So that's what I'm trying to debate with my in the context of religion.
Okay, let me ask a question. If you and I walk outside the church and we grab two partners in the open greenness of nature and we say the same things with a marriage officer there, is it going to change what the certificate looks like? And is
not
it
the certificate, but the words.
But
in front of God and man, and we vow to.
He's everywhere. And as a Christian, you should know that. God is everywhere.
No. I'm saying the words that we say. So it has no bearing. That's what you're saying.
If I were a lawyer and you came to me, and I'm not a lawyer. If
Yes.
I were a lawyer and you came to me and you said to me, this is what we agreed to,
Yes.
in sickness and in health, for better or for worse,
Right.
let us do part. The
Right.
first thing I'm going to ask you is who's going to die first? Neither of you is going to volunteer to die. Okay, so who's going to get sick first? Neither of you is going to volunteer to be sick. For rich or for poor, who want to be poor first? Neither of you want that. So the truth is, the words that you say are not what you mean. The words are a form. They're a symbolic thing that you do for what you're really saying. How come on the getting married, when people don't make up their own vows, nobody says, if you cheat on me, I'm going to kill you. If you go into my bank account, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to run you down. I'm going to trace DASA. Why we don't say those things? If we're being so truthful and so honest, why don't we say what we actually mean? That by marrying me, you're bound to me now, and if you break this bond, I am going to become like a terrorist in your life. We're in the marriage vows.
So Doc, you're saying we're being unrealistic.
We're being dishonest. We're being dishonest and we're being unrealistic because nobody's going to want to die first. And if you and I can only be separated by death, one of us has to die. If the only thing that separates us when things become unbearable is death, then we're asking for something quite serious. We need to think about it. We use words and we don't think about what we mean by these words. And then we put a set of notions around these words. And then we say, oh, well, because it was in the church, it's a covenant, not a contract. God was there. God is everywhere. God in your bathroom.
True.
Yeah? God is everywhere. So if you believe in a God, if you're a theist and you believe in a God, then you also believe that God is omniscient. God can see you. God is everywhere. You can't separate God. Yeah? The covenant cannot be with God because God does not break the covenant. When you want a divorce, you do not go back to God and say, God, I'd like a divorce.
You go to the lawyer.
You go to a lawyer. So who is this person that you're making a covenant with? It is with yourself. You have to have the integrity to keep that covenant. God can't make it.
So when I say those words, am I not making that covenant with this person that I'm making the covenant with to say it's me and you in this together? Or else why bother get married then?
Well, it's a question I ask all the time. And the interesting thing to me is that people who don't need to get married have the best marriages.
Say that again.
People who don't need to get married have the best marriages.
And you say that to say?
If you don't need marriage to make your bond complete, then you're probably
meaning you're not needy or you're not dependent.
Not looking to marriage and the ceremony to keep you together. You would have stayed together anyway.
You are committed
to each other. And that commitment doesn't need any set of words. It don't need a ring. It don't need a covenant. It don't need God. It don't need a church. It don't need wine. It don't need music. It don't need anything except the commitment. No, the social activity of having witnesses to your bond is something we want to share. That's a different matter.
Right.
But it's not what's going to hold it together. That can't hold it together. No matter how the dress pretty, no matter how the wedding big, no matter how much loan you take out, and no matter how many times you say the word God, that cannot hold a marriage together.
If you are not committed by your heart.
And you don't need
heart and head.
Heart and head, mind and body.
Body.
Don't need any trappings to make that commitment. But if you choose to have it recognized and witnessed by your family and friends, that's a different matter. That's a social function. That has nothing to do with the longevity of a relationship. I am sorry. Tell me you want a pretty dress and a big party, and that's all I can say to you. You do not need that in order for a couple to stay together.
All right. So, Gina says, how does she know she's not being fulfilled if she knows nothing else. Who told you that you are naked? God asked Adam and Eve. I suppose he's quoting from the Bible.
I
So
understand, but God made them naked, eh?
right.
Why should he have told them they were naked, or why should they have had a problem with being naked, or even knowing that they were naked? I think we can be very literal, which is
Mhm.
orthodoxy, and try
Right.
to read the Bible as a recipe book. 2 ounces of flour, 3 ounces of God, 2 ounces of Adam, and one of Eve. That's not what it is. The Old Testament, in particular, the Pentateuch, is the history of a people. And the New Testament is the history of a revolution within a particular sect of people. There are no Christians in the Bible. And I don't want to study the Bible because what I find is a majority of people who argue from a Christian perspective do not actually know the theology of the Bible. They don't know the origins of the Bible. They don't know what it was translated from. They don't know the original words that were there. And as they say, the devil can cite anything for his purposes.
All right. So
So if we stay here, we're going to get
I
into
touched on marriage because I wanted to get to the how we get to okay. In society, every day you
yeah,
hear men are hunters. Um, it's
women.
natural and normal for a
Mhm.
man to want more than one woman. Yet still, we never hear about what the woman wants. I am yet to hear a discussion as to what a woman wants. I've never heard that
Mhm.
when it comes to sexuality.
Okay.
It's always about what
So,
the man wants and how the
yeah.
woman comes in to fill that need. Will
Okay,
we
and that's
ever be seen
mhm.
as a sexual being having needs as a man?
Well, I don't like needs as a man. I don't think
Well,
women need
let me
to
not put it as needs.
yeah, I don't
Having
think
the
women
same sexual
need
energy,
I
same
don't think
sexual appetite.
yes, well, absolutely. The thing is, here's the thing, Sandra. We live in the Western world, right? And 85% of the rest of the world doesn't live like us. We believe through the magic of television that we are the world. We are the people, but we're not. We are a very tiny percentage of the world's population, those of us who have Western ideals. And Jamaica, in particular, lives in a kind of post Victorian era where we're moving ahead technologically, we're moving ahead in terms of education, etc. And we're still not moving ahead in terms of those Victorian ideals that we had cemented during the period of enslavement. We're still stuck in a Britain that doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist in Britain. We're still carrying those same Victorian ideals of what maleness and femaleness is and what men and women are. And other parts of the world do indeed look at women's sexuality, do indeed look at women and their desires separate of men's desires. There's a very Western view that we have. But there are other ways of looking at the world. And women, certainly in gender, have been talking about women's sexuality for hundreds of years.
Because we're still talking about in the church about virginity and getting married as a virgin and all of that and saving yourself for your husband and all of that. So where do we go from there?
Well, I don't expect that the church would change its ideals. I think it would be unreasonable of us to imagine that the church is going to give us the liberation theology that some churches have given us. I think it's unreasonable to expect a haberdasher to sell something than haberdashery. The
Right.
church is set up to do a particular thing and it has served its own purpose. But if we're coming outside of the church, and when we're talking about biology, we're talking about science, we're talking about what happens to the human body, we're talking about how sexuality develops in a man and a woman, and we're also talking about the fact that women have a greater capacity for sex than men. So this notion that men,
Don't go so fast. Say that again, Doc. Say that again.
women have a greater
Repeat.
capacity.
Repeat.
Well, let's look at the practicality of it. Let's strip away all of the moralizing about other people's lives. Let's just be real. Women can have sex more times than men. And the notion that men want sex more than women is simply false. It's false because it's not proven in biology, and it's not proven in history, and it's not proven in the works on women's sexuality. The mere fact that women can engage in sex as a profession and can be
Right.
successful in sex as a profession suggests that women have the capacity to rebound and to come back and want sex again or be able to engage in it again over and over and over. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Once a man has ejaculated, he is not likely to have many more ejaculations. He can have more, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not likely to have many more. A woman in her sex cycle can have an orgasm and be ready again in 5 to 10 minutes. The average man takes 20 minutes when he's very young to rebound. Okay? So as he ages, his what we call refractory period, the period in which his body gets up and goes again, gets longer. It's lengthened. Yes?
Yes.
So he's ideally suited to a woman who doesn't want much sex or doesn't want much sex with him. So if
Yes.
what she wants is a transaction and very little sex with him, she's actually ideal for him because he can pay for that and move on.
Get you.
But if he is engaged with a woman who is in her full sexuality, is comfortable with her body and her sexuality, that one time is not going to be satisfying for her. Yeah?
Absolutely not.
Unless it has met all her needs. And there's a difference between eating Chinese food and eating a full meal. They say you're hungry in
Absolutely.
5 minutes, right?
Yes.
So just because you've had sex doesn't mean it's been satisfying sex.
No, it doesn't.
And let's be clear about that.
Let's be very clear.
So unless the sex is satisfying, it is unlikely to fulfill you for very long. And women are always ready to go again. The other thing that puzzled me as an older teenager the first time I heard it about men thinking about sex more than women, I had to actually go and read that study when I heard about it. And it occurs to me that men are like a microwave. If they have to be thinking about sex all the time in order to have sex, then they're more like a microwave. You put something in, you zap it, you don't put it in twice.
Right.
You can't put a baked potato in there 2 times because you're not going to get potato.
Right.
By the time it's finished, it's going to be shrunken like this and you can't eat
Right.
it.
And hard.
Because the
Right.
microwave destroys the cells, right?
Right.
A woman is like a refrigerator. She's plugged in and humming.
Say that again, Doc. Say that again.
Man is like a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
Once you put it in, you heat it up, zap, it's gone, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Woman is like a refrigerator that's plugged in because she's humming all the time. She doesn't have to think about sex constantly because she's always able to have sex. She does not
Yes,
require
you.
direction. So it's about the quality of the product you're putting into the refrigerator.
Right.
Every time you turn, you open the door, the light is on, you know. Every time you open the fridge door, the light is on, which means it's working.
So Doc, I have a theory. This is
Mm-hmm.
my theory.
Yeah.
I was wondering
Mm-hmm.
if the reason why men want to have so many different partners because they are really not happy with themselves and they're looking for I don't know, is it someone to stroke their ego or whatever? Because I'm saying if a man has a woman
Mm-hmm.
and he's engaged, when I say engaged, I mean engaged as he should
Into her.
be
He's into her.
sexually, he's
Yeah.
into her. His need to go to 10 different women to just, because to me, I don't know, I can't even understand how that could even
But,
be fulfilling.
but let me
But,
suggest.
but I'm not a man, so this is just my thinking.
Yeah.
To me, it's like he's looking for some
Validation.
kind of validation.
Validation. But let me suggest something to you.
I didn't read that. I just
Yeah.
think it through and saying If a man have 10 women, your head space alone, just thinking about how you engage sexually and how
No, no.
intimate and deep
Let's
it can be.
no, and the intimacy thing is a mistake.
Okay, enlighten
Sex
me.
is not intimacy. Sex
Okay,
is not intimacy. You can
okay,
be more intimate with a good friend,
yes.
sexual partner sometimes.
So it's
So
just a transaction.
sex is
Can
sex.
be a
And
transaction.
sex is not love, and sex is not intimacy. You don't learn anything about a person through sex except what pleases them or doesn't please them sexually. And just because this thing pleases me with you doesn't mean it's going to please me with somebody else. With somebody else, I want something else. Yeah?
Absolutely.
The same goes for the man who's changing partners. But let me also suggest to you that for every man who's cheating, there's a woman who's cheating.
That true.
Most men cheat with women.
Right.
Most men
Or other
cheat with
men,
women.
we are in 2020.
No, but I'm saying, no, it doesn't take 2020. No. Men have always liked men and women have always liked women. That is not anything new. We're acting like we discovered it. That is not anything new. 14% of
Just
every population
in
is
the last
LGBTQ.
decade, it kind of not the last maybe years,
Well,
it
it's
kind of
been
bust out.
No, I don't think it broke out. I think we're becoming more civilized, which is
Okay.
another matter. We're learning to
Okay.
respect other people's differences, which is a different
Okay.
thing. We're
Right.
more educated. But
Okay.
for the most part, most men have sex with women, and
Right.
most women have sex with men.
Right.
So if a man is cheating, chances are he's cheating with a woman.
Okay.
No, population is even. We actually have a 1-to-1 ratio in the sexually active population.
No,
So
Doc,
if
say that one more time. No, man, you have to say that with the men here.
have a 1-to-1 ratio, that was another nonsense that I couldn't understand. When I was leaving sixth form and I heard this nonsense being put out, that there's a 2-to-1 and there's a 3-to-1 and a 4-to-1.
And there's a 10-to-1 and an 8-to-1.
But no one looks it up. They just keep repeating this rubbish. Look at the census of Jamaica. Look at the population statistics. And you will see that empirically, factually, there's a 1-to-1 ratio. And in high school, when kids are most caught up in sexual interests, because that's when their bodies are newly sexual, 1-to-1 ratio. So for every man that's cheating, there's a woman that's cheating.
Absolutely.
It's not 12 bad women who are just wandering the earth and having sex with every man that wants to cheat. Let us stop the nonsense and let us stop the myths. We have been invested in treating women as perpetual virgins and perpetual children because it suits the notions of patriarchy. Because a woman who's sexually in her own right, able to both pleasure herself and be pleasured by others, is a threat to the male ego. And it ought not to be. Because in the same way that men might want variety, women also want variety, even if it's with the same man. Women,
Yeah, but men don't seem to get that though.
they don't have to get it. It's a woman's problem. It's not their problem.
Yeah, but it becomes a problem because it's them they're having sex with.
Look, Sandra, you know what the problem is? The problem is lying. The problem is that we're children. And we're still waiting on
Talk about things, Doc. Talk about things. I'm
still
trying
waiting
to see
on
if
mama
it
to
come
come and beat
closer.
us. We want mama to come and beat us for doing the
Yes.
wrong thing. We're still children playing children's games. If you're a grown adult and you wish sex with someone other than your committed partner, what is easier than saying that to your partner instead of playing all the little games that create?
Because he can't manage it. As Jamaican men can't handle that, Doc.
Sandra, too many men leave breadcrumbs, and women too, that allow us to find out that they were cheating. A person who is cheating well never makes you find out. So most of them cheat badly. So I'm not buying that. That is just childish.
You're saying that what you're saying then is that most people would like to have an option. Is that what you're saying?
I think most people would like to know that they can exercise the option if they want to. But having the option doesn't mean you will exercise it. Just because you have the option doesn't mean you would exercise it. That means that you would freely stay with the person who has multiple partners because you know and you know the risk to yourself. And for me, the biggest issue with multiple partners is safety. It's not
Right.
a moral issue. It's a health issue. So if damaging a woman's health or damaging a man's health is a moral question, then it becomes morality. It's not a moral issue.
So,
Cheating is
so but morality, I don't know what it says in the dictionary.
mm,
But in society,
mm-hmm,
as far as I know, the
mm-hmm,
expectation
mm-hmm.
is that a woman is expected to have one partner, especially if she's married. And the church even go as far as to say, even if you are some,
Mm.
if you're divorced, you're still married, and so it's considered cheating on your husband if you
Your
have a
husband
partner
who
after
has
the
left.
marriage.
Your husband who has left or you have left.
Divorce, because
Unless
they don't believe in divorce, or left. The woman has left, I believe.
And I think for those people who subscribe to that view and are happy with it, then bully for them. But it isn't realistic, it isn't practical, and it doesn't happen that way. We can continue to sprout all of the things that are told us by organizations.
That is not working.
We cannot look at the reality of people's lives and say that we are thinking human beings and see that what people are living isn't going along the lines that they're telling us and say that it's still true. How can it be true?
It is true.
How can it be true if you're seeing it in the society that is happening?
But Doc, what would you say is a reasonable formula? Because
I
a
think
lot of the relationships are not working.
they're
A lot
not
of
working because
relationships
they're
are
based on
not
lies.
working.
Andrea, they're not working because they're based on lies. First of all,
That is very true. That
we
is
lie.
very, very, very true.
We tell the lie that marriage is a solution. Marriage is not a solution to anything. Marriage is a commitment on the part of, in this society and in Western societies, two people. And that commitment is ratified by the state because you take out a contract. And your rent contract has more rules on it than any marriage contract. There's nothing on it. And if you are from the old school, you remember when a marriage certificate was this big. It was a piece of paper, this big, that they would tear out of the book in the church, right? And take a pair of scissors and cut it. So it wasn't as fancy as it is today. We tell a lie that marriage is a solution. We tell a lie that marriage is necessary. Marriage is not necessary. Bringing up children in a home with mother and father and extended family, these are good things. They're healthy things for the society, for the children.
For the children, that both parents are in the same house and can take care of the children for parenting purposes.
Right, and it need not be a man and a woman. So this enterprise of having children are wonderful to have, but children cut into your sex life. One, it means that the woman usually is the main caregiver, and it leaves her with 1/3 less time for taking care of the man's needs, whether frivolous needs of fixing a meal and putting it in front of you when you can perfectly fix a meal by yourself, or whatever other needs. And for every child you add to that marriage, you take away from the couple.
Right.
Couple is sacrificed for the children. Now, where two people agree to do that, that's beautiful. But you don't have to be romantically involved with a person to be good parents. Two friends, two people who marry thinking that they're going to be romantic and end up two friends, can make excellent parents. You don't have to be erotically attracted to your partner to make a good parent. But the problem we're having as well is that marriage has changed. And we've made marriage into this romantic enterprise. We want everything in one place. We want a man to be our lover, to be our friend, to be our confidant, to be a parent, to be a provider, to be a hero, to be gentle. How much things is one person going to do? And the woman.
Aren't we expected to be superwoman as well?
I was saying the women are
We must
expected to
cook.
be
We
equally.
must clean. We must take care of the them. We must be a diva in on the street and
Mhm.
a
In the
fox in the bed
bedroom, you're
and
supposed to
everything.
be amazing. And you're supposed to want this sex after you've dealt with puke and vomit and children's mess and fixing food and tired as a dog. We are building some unrealistic expectations of marriage.
So
Marriage
so so
is
so
not
doc,
really all of that.
so doc. So what would be a realistic setup, as I said before?
I
Because
think,
I
I think, I think we have to decide as
yes,
women if we want to marry a lover, somebody who is going to be passionate, etc., but maybe not the most reliable guy on earth. Yeah? Or
yes.
if we want a provider, we have to decide what we want from this other human being. And
So
we
so
have
we have to choose. We have to, let's say we have a top five. You have to choose.
yes, you have to choose the future that you want. And we must grow up and stop believing that this is a fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. This is reality. And you cannot deny reality because it will come back and slap you in the face. It's as real as getting up in the morning and breathing and knowing that you're alive. So we need to be more realistic about what marriage can deliver. And then we need to be honest.
So Marshan is saying, so marry a friend, Doc. What you say?
If you don't want a romantic relationship, if you don't need to feel horny and sexy every time you look at your partner, then marrying a friend is a good formula. But it's not for everyone. There are people who like romance. But don't believe that every relationship can sustain romance and dirty dishes and dirty underwear. It takes a very special sexual relationship between two people for you to be able to still want the sex after you do the dirty dishes and dirty underwear. That's where a relationship is, it's not when you're on the top of the mountain. It's about the dirty dishes and the dirty underwear. If you can get through that and still feel sexy for each other, then chances are that things are good. And then you have to look at whether or not intellectually you're well suited to each other. Because you can have the sexiest man or woman in the earth, but they do nothing for your brain. That's not going to last.
Okay. Another very popular thing that happens in society, double standards again.
Yeah.
Older man, younger girl,
Mhm.
younger man,
Mhm.
older woman. Woman is labeled as
Mhm.
cougar.
Yeah. And and
Sexually,
and let. Mhm.
sexually, I can see how it
Mhm.
works for the man, and sexually,
Mhm.
I can see how it works for the woman because the woman is speaking as
Mhm.
she's older, and the younger
Yeah.
man is able to satisfy her. But then maybe the other societal things don't really fall into place. What is your view on that?
Okay. So you said something very important there, Sandra. As people age, it affects them differently.
Yes,
And because men and women have different biology, it affects us differently. And we're speaking here sort of in a broad vein. We're not saying every single man and every single woman is like
right.
this. But you're quite right. When a woman passes menopause, let's say, and menopause could be anywhere between 48 and 52 to 56. Some women as late as 56. Once
Yes,
she's past her menopause, she can no longer get pregnant, right?
right,
And that's a year after your last period. So just because your periods have stopped, you're not in menopause yet. You have to
right.
wait a year and then you're free and clear. And that means you can have sex the way a man has sex. If
Anytime, anyhow, anywhere, anytime.
you don't have a period, you don't have any restrictions, you don't get pregnant. It also means that as your
And
estrogen,
and and a dry vagina is also a myth with some people.
it's a
But
myth.
not all of us have dry vaginas.
What happens is that we tend to report on illness. Yes?
Okay.
We're disease oriented in medicine. So if you go to the doctor and you're dry, and 20 women go to the doctor and they're dry, nobody's talking about the 100 women who are not dry. You get me?
Right,
So I
right.
used to talk to women about a happy menopause, and I used to talk to a lot of women who are in menopause because I was very interested.
Right.
why they were looking so vibrant, why they were enjoying themselves so much. And most of those women would report that they didn't have the dryness and they didn't have the this and they didn't have the that. And some of them went through menopause like a whisper. Yeah?
Yes.
One day it was here and the next day it was gone. So, as women enter that stage of their lives, they also have higher levels of testosterone relative to their estrogen and progesterone of earlier years when they could get pregnant. And we know that testosterone is that adrenal hormone that leads to sexual desire.
Mm-hmm.
Men with low testosterone have less sexual desire and less erections. As the man ages, his testosterone drops and levels off with his estrogen. His skin gets softer, he has less muscle, unless he's been working out. Yeah? And generally, he will not have a quick recovery when
Right.
he'll have fewer erections, he won't have his morning erection. So now the man and the woman are on very different planes. She's ready to go because she can have sex whenever she wants. And all she needs is desire.
Right.
And she's lubricating still.
And usually by that time the children are grown as well.
There you go. So now she's free of those kinds of concerns. He, on the other hand, may well be more prosperous at this point in time, more stable, but his testosterone levels are low. And there are some situations where we don't recommend that an older man has testosterone, depending on what other illness he has.
Right.
So he can't even get a T-shot, right, to boost his testosterone, and his sex drive is lowered. His erection comes and goes, and when he does get one, it will not be as turgid as it used to be. It won't be as hard. Or if it's hard, it doesn't stay hard for as long, and he might find that he can only go once where he used to go 4 or 5 times. Good?
Right. Right.
But the woman is now, as you say, peaking in a new peak because now she can't get pregnant.
Right.
That worry is completely gone from her mind. Because we spend most of our lives as women, from the age of 12 to the age of 52, trying not to get pregnant. And that is one of the
risks. Like rough enough. So why is it then an issue?
I don't think it's an issue as much. Look, we're very pretentious people. We're pretentious. Jamaicans are extremely pretentious. We like fronting. Yes? So we're always talking about the veranda issues when we know full well that nothing goes up behind the door. The very same.
Come back to the line again.
But that's what I'm saying to you. We cannot accept ourselves for who we are. We're not happy with accepting our sexuality. We're not happy to say we have desires. We tell our children that we don't know anything about sex, and sex is bad, and sex is terrible, and sex is... And we were all having sex at the same ages as them. We lie. If you were to tell your kid that you know these things because you did indeed experiment with sex at that age, your credibility would go up. They would come to you for advice instead of going to their friends. But they go to their friends because at least their friends aren't lying to them. Their friends just don't know. And there are you turn into a saint since you have children. And you can't even say the word sex.
My mother used to call penis it.
It.
And she's a nurse. She was a nurse.
I'm sure when she was
Marsha says, Doc, let's be real. Sensual is not when you are 70. I think deep friendship is sensual because you are in love with the mind, the values, the joys of the friendship. What you say to that?
Well, I think that Marsha Ann is one of many persons who feels that way. And if that's what she would like out of a relationship, then she should be careful to be paired with a man who does not want sex at 70. Because my oldest client was 84.
Wow.
And his wife, who was 84, came in together to renew their sex life.
What?
Okay.
That sounds good.
And he was
84.
Super healthy. He walked constantly, tall, slim, very healthy. And his wife said to me, Doc, him is a funny little man. And I thought they were wonderful. I thought it was wonderful that she came in after he had been coming and getting all these tips on how to renew his sex life and what they could do easily and what would work for them. And the fact that she came to the clinic at all, to me, bless them. I think that they're wonderful. I've known couples who started their sex life as a new couple, having already been married at 70. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I tell you, when I look in the face of that 70-year-old woman, you can't tell she's 70 because she's
Right.
sexually active. Sex is good for you. And good sex is even better. It's great for your skin. It's great for the vagina. And it keeps, yes.
Take it back, take back laugh.
Keep
Oh, God. So, all right. So before we wrap up,
Mm.
because it's a solution I'm looking for in a doc. You know, say I digging deep for the
What are you
solution.
looking for?
I know the solution, number one, is to tell the truth.
Tell the
But
truth.
how, well, I suppose the now generation get it. I think they're getting it.
They're
But
getting
but for
some bit.
those of us who are left from our era and we want to achieve that high level of happiness and satisfaction equally.
Well, let's look at the two different scenarios. If you're already with a partner like Marsha, you're
Right.
with your partner, you're satisfied with the person's intellect, etc. I'm gonna say something very unpopular right now, very unchurchical. If you enjoy those aspects of your partner and your partner is a sexual being, do not expect your partner to be satisfied with those aspects. If you are not happy to have sex with your partner still wants sex, expect your partner to find the sex elsewhere. And you have to now make up your mind if what you are getting out of this deal is sufficient for you to hang around. Because this person is a good person and a decent person and someone who you enjoy the company of, who's committed to you and is not interested in leaving you high and dry, but is having sex needs satisfied. And that is the hardest thing for the Jamaican man. To accept that the Jamaican woman is not being sexually satisfied by them. And that this woman has a right to sexual satisfaction. That's difficult. And for the woman who is single, she has a wonderful choice to make because she can bring up the matter of sex from the get-go. Don't be shy to talk
Absolutely.
about sex. Don't be shy to talk about
Absolutely.
a potential partner. And say to them, what exactly is your story? What are you looking for? Do you still get erections? How often do you get them? What do you want sexually? What are the things that you enjoy? We need to stop pretending that shyness is something good. Shyness is a disorder. It's called social anxiety disorder.
Say that again, Doc. Say that again.
Shyness is a disorder. It's called social anxiety disorder. You cannot be shy about what you need for your own happiness and well-being. If you're not harming anyone and you are not putting yourself in trouble with the law, then why would you be concerned about other things? If your health is not damaged and you're not breaking the law, why are you worried? Who is going to be following you?
Well, I think, all right. Speaking for myself,
Yes.
and I believe I can speak for
One
my
number.
friends, but we
Yeah.
have rich
Yeah.
conversations. I think most of us are concerned about what people are going to say.
Why these?
If we are honest
Yes.
with ourselves,
Yes.
I think majority of us are afraid of the
I agree
people,
with you, Sandra. I agree.
what are they're going to say, if they're going to judge you, and
They're
you
going
look
to judge you
dysfunctional
anyway.
and you
They're
get all kind
going-
of labels
Girl, they're
and
going
all
to
of
judge
that.
you anyway. They are going to judge you anyway. If you turn left, they're going to judge you. If you turn right, they're going to judge you. Whatever you do, people who are judging always are judging. The people who care about you, if they judge you, they'll tell you. And the people who don't care about you, what does it matter? Who are you trying to please? You cannot please everybody. Acting integrity with yourself. If this is one of your rules and you're breaking your own rule, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah?
Sean says, but of course there are lies. What do you think drives the idea of superiority based on the demographic, male or female? What does that mean exactly? I'm not sure.
Sure.
What do you think drives the idea of superiority? I guess superiority in the terms of male being superior to females.
Yeah, well, the truth is that if you are a man and you go from partner to partner, which is entirely your business, and
Yes.
you protect each partner by using a condom, and you protect their emotions by telling them the truth, then I don't see how anybody can put that against you.
There is a what
Remember?
I call a disorder
Mm.
where women do not have sex with men and expect them, seriously expect them, not to have sex with other people.
That is.
I think that's a disorder.
There's
And
also
they think of it as punishment
Mhm.
and all of that. No.
Sandra, there's another challenge, which is that men often choose, and we're generalizing here, so not every man, please excuse me, men often choose women who have low libidos.
Why is that though?
Men, because they want to cheat on them. Men who have the need to have multiple partners often choose a good girl. They're not choosing the woman
That's
who
not
is
what I
like them.
thought.
They're not choosing their equal to settle down with. Yeah? They
No,
settle
but
down with a good girl that they can cheat on.
I never saw it that way, Nada, but you are the expert, so you
Have
would
a
you
look
you
at
know
it.
for sure. What
Have a
I
look
thought,
at
because my 25 years of
it.
having these discussions, and I noticed that, and I've often said it on my program. If you check a lot of my programs, I've
Yeah.
said it over and over again. I noticed that
Yeah.
because I have these deep discussions with them. But what I thought was that they marry good girls because they don't want to be cheated on. That's what I thought.
But that's right. They don't want to be cheated on, but they also want to cheat. And the good girl is going to worship them. Yes?
Yes, I
And
know. I know that there's that need to be worshipped.
I say to women, look, if you marry a lover or you choose a lover as your partner, marriage outside the door, just choosing this committed relationship with a lover, then you need to choose somebody who's passionate about you. Because a lover chooses a woman he's passionate about. A cheater chooses a woman he can ignore.
No, come again. That's a tweet tweet.
A
Come
lover,
again. Come
in
again.
a romantic relationship, a
Yes.
lover, a man who's a lover, will
Yes.
choose a woman he's passionate about. A man
Yes.
who's a cheater will choose a woman he can ignore.
Wow. I
When
never
you
went.
look at yourselves in the mirror, again, we're lying. And you look at yourselves in the mirror when you're about to take that step and you say, we're not alike. I saw you had a program that you did on Unequally Yoked.
Yes.
If you look in the mirror and you see that the two of you don't look alike, you don't look equally attractive, you don't look equally presentable, stop lying to yourself. That
Doc, that explains a lot, because
watch it.
I know of men who get married to women who definitely not interested, will never do, not going to have oral sex, and them love oral sex like cook food. I could
They
not understand it.
intend to go outside the relationship and they do not want to think of their partners doing what they do.
I don't get that.
Don't want to think of that woman.
But wouldn't you want it at your house, in your house,
No,
available to you?
they never intended to be faithful in the first place. Because if you intend to be faithful, then that's a deal breaker for you. If this is what you enjoy, then surely you will choose a woman who is going to do what you enjoy. But you
Yes.
don't enjoy it. So you choose a woman who won't do it with you or any other man, because when you come home, you want to know that she's a Madonna. And we still have that Madonna whore dichotomy in the
But
society.
hold on. But isn't that a dysfunction, Doc?
Of
Isn't
course,
that a dysfunction?
it's also a part of not growing up. It's part of that shiny fantasy that women are children and that women are virgins. You can only be a virgin once, you know. And it's not fun to lose it.
Oh,
It's painful. So why any man would want to take a woman
no, it makes sense.
to inflict pain on her? And then you expect that she's somehow going to be loyal to you because you're the person who inflicted pain on her?
And so that's why they're so devastated when they get cheated on, because they thought they chose someone who would never cheat on them.
Never step out.
Gets you.
All right.
And now adding 1 + 1.
That woman or man is going to be devoted to the other partner, because it happens to men as well, because they feel that they upgraded. They feel that they achieved something that they wouldn't normally achieve. And they're more desperate to stay with a person. Two cheaters rarely choose each other unless they're willing to stop cheating.
Come, say that again.
When two cheaters choose each other,
Yes.
it's because they're willing to stop cheating.
Wow. I wonder if my audience hearing all of this.
A cheater
I wonder
against another cheater.
I wonder if they wake up like me.
It's because they're ready to put down their arms.
I always wondered why certain men who are obviously of a particular personality do not choose the woman that suit them. It blew my mind. And then when they look at you, who is out there and having fun, and you don't seem to be the settle down, quote unquote, the settle down type.
No, it's
but
not.
they'll sleep with you. They'll sleep with you.
Okay.
Consistently.
But they sleep with you to reassure themselves that they still have it. Because two people who are sexually liberated and active, because I'm going to try not to say cheating. Two people who are sexually liberated and sexually active sharpen their skills with each other. So every now and again, you have to find your match and you battle it out in the bedroom and you remind yourself that you still have it, and now you can go after easy prey. Because it's a girl that's gullible that you can go after. You're not going to go after the girl that can read you up.
Doc.
Yeah.
So Doc, we're in trouble.
Of course we're in trouble. Because we have not learned to be honest about our sexual desires. And some of us as women, and because we're talking about women in particular.
But I always knew that. Let me just declare my hand. I always knew that. I've always said it, that you know that. I've always said it. But because I'm not trained like you, I don't know how to articulate it and know the meaning behind it. Now you're talking the real raw truth.
And some of us as women have learned to lie about who we are and to pretend to be a goody two shoes.
And some of us can't lie, no, Doc, and it's hard.
No, some of us don't have the time for it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Neither the time or the inclination.
You're using your brain for other things, you can't lie.
That is true.
It takes a whole for brain space and a whole for memory.
Yes.
And have a good memory. Because they have to remember the lie that they told. And if you don't have the patience for that, you can't be lying all the time. And men are often offended when a woman says, "This is who I am. Please don't get it twisted. Don't take this too seriously. We're having a fling. We're having a good time. I don't need you to call me." That's offensive to the average man.
Yeah, because he's done one.
What kind of woman are you?
Yeah.
The kind who knows what she wants.
Yeah, can't handle that.
Yeah. But
so, Doc, what we're not get to the solution. We're out of time. Doc,
all
okay.
Right.
All right. I want you to just
The simple solution.
Yes.
Opposites
Give
don't
me a
attract.
simple. All right. Give me like about. All right, for men and
Mm.
for women. Just a little advice. Not advice, because I don't want to trivialize
No,
it
I
by
don't
saying
give advice.
advice.
I don't give advice.
I
But
want you to say, I want you to look in a man's eye who has been
mm,
fooling himself,
mm.
which are many, and look in the woman's eye who has been fooling herself about she's withholding sex, so I'm not going to sleep anywhere, and I'm going to
That's
spite him because and I'm
nonsense.
going to have sex
That's
and watch
nonsense.
me and him and get that kind of thing. I don't
Look,
I don't know why, because
Sandra, you
I was
and I
always
know.
the type of person who never ever believed in asking men certain things, because to me
Yeah,
the question is redundant. Like,
yeah,
where you
you always
coming
want
from?
to
And
answer.
him coming 2 o'clock in the morning, you know him, I have no friend
Yeah.
to hang out with, and you're asking him,
Seriously,
and him
where were
the
you?
sheet and the pillow print out, and him decide, and you still ask him where I'm
No,
coming from. That don't make no
that's
sense,
foolishness. That's
because you
foolish.
know where I'm coming from.
That's
So
unnecessary.
how can we get past that?
First of all, you said something very important. You talk about the nonsense that we carry on with, that believing that we're the only one that can supply somebody with sex. Sex is the easiest thing in the world.
One
I
phone call away.
just
One phone call away, especially with social media.
a
One
box
text.
food, for a
One
box
text.
food. All
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
A box food is less than $500. Sex is the easiest thing in the world to get. Relationships are a very different matter, and love and sex are
Right.
the same thing. Withholding sex satisfies no one. If you're withholding sex because you think you're in danger of getting an STD, an
That's
S,
different.
or you want to protect your body, go see your gynecologist. Get some wise advice from a professional. But if you're withholding sex because you believe that it will get you something, don't use sex as a weapon. You can't win, because that person can find 3 other people who can feel that sexual desire, and they can come to you the same way. So it's not nonsense. We need to stop telling ourselves that it's not okay to want sex, to enjoy sex, and that we're not sexual beings. Human beings are designed for sex. Without sex, we die. There'll be no humans on the planet if we stop having sex. So, sex is very essential to what we do, but we have to learn to be a little bit more honest about who we are sexually. If you don't want the sex, don't put out, put out, put out. And then when you get the ring on your finger, you stop having the sex. The man who's disgusting to you when he put the ring on was the same disgusting man that you were sleeping with before. So stop the foolishness. Yeah? We need to
Right.
grow. And we need to understand that opposites do not attract.
They attract initially. That's what I learned from
There's,
Rev. In
so
the first,
it's
yes,
not initially, there's a thing called novelty effect in
yes,
psychology.
yes.
And the newness of someone who's different from you can have a novelty effect.
Yeah, but it's not lasting.
If you do not have the same sex drive, if you do not want sex with the same frequency, if you don't have the same taste in sex, you don't want the same things on the menu, walk away.
Away.
Leave them alone. Because there's 7 billion people on the planet. There's someone and some ones who like sex the way you like it, as much as you like it or as little as you like it, and they have a similar menu to you.
And I would like for you to also express that the women out there that are sexually aware
Yes.
are also marriage material, not because they are aware and know what they want. And when I say marriage material, let me not use the word marriage.
No, I was actually doing that because about the R also. Because
Yeah,
I was
because the common view
hmm,
is that because you are vocal, out there, expressive,
yeah.
it means you are not the settling down or the family oriented, because they put you in a box.
That depends on your age group, because family oriented, if you're not producing a family, then you can't be that family oriented.
No,
But
because we're talking about now men who are choosing women,
hmm,
quote unquote, good
good
in
girl.
their minds, good
Yeah.
girls.
Mm-hmm.
Good girls don't only come in one package. That's what I'm trying to say.
Men need to look at who they are and stop
And be honest with
choosing a girl who's
themselves.
different from you. Choose a girl that is like you, and you will see that the fireworks will last a lot longer. You keep choosing a girl
But
that's like you,
that
you go.
I feel strongly that they got that from their mothers. I think they were told that they must choose a good girl. I'm sure I've heard it said. She's a good girl.
What does that mean? That has nothing to do with her
Meaning,
sexuality.
no, yes, I
The
can tell you what it means. It means she
Yes,
don't have much mileage.
yes,
Stays home.
yes.
She's a good mother. She's motherly,
Mother of children.
mother of children.
Yeah.
So she will, be there to do the homework. She can cook. She can take care of the house,
Well,
and she'll put you first.
if that is what the woman wishes and the man wishes, then bully for them.
But I
But,
don't think that's what they want. That's what they were told that they wanted.
but you see, I don't think that many men and women want those things. That's very formulaic, and human beings are dynamic. So you have to find out about more than whether or not they can fill out a resume as a domestic worker.
But that's what I'm saying, Doc. I don't think
I
that's
agree.
what they really want. I
I
think
agree
they're
with you.
told, they're brainwashed into thinking that this is what I want because this is the package that it comes in.
Andrew, that's precisely why we have to grow. Because
All
I
right.
don't make
So
decisions for them.
your five takeaways, five for men and five for women.
No man, there's too many. Five, no.
Because they're different. They're
No, not
different. And
necessarily.
I would
Let's
say,
let's look
well,
at the
one thing
boundary.
is true, the line.
Yes,
Stop
the line has
lying.
the line has to go.
I agree, I agree, I agree, I agree, I agree.
Adults don't have
Say
to
what
lie
you
about what
want.
they're doing. An adult doesn't have to lie about what they're doing.
Don't
Because
it?
they're responsible for themselves. And
Don't.
when they make a choice, they make it willingly and knowingly. It's a child who lies when you catch them stealing something.
But
So
Dr. Samaj says that men don't pass 17.
and
Most
while
men don't
I
pass
agree,
17.
with many things my colleague Lakim says, I think that there are those men. More and more, there are men who are evolving beyond 17.
Because they're now reading and opening up themselves to
So
the
much,
information.
it is as bad for men as it is for women when men don't grow. A
Yeah.
man remains 17 at 70. It's not attractive.
No.
Which woman wants to pick up with that? That's not at all
Well, that's the
attractive.
struggle that we're having.
No, that's not attractive. So men need to modernize. I think by far and by large, men need to modernize. They need to wake up. The world is moving ahead of them. Women need to own their sexuality. A woman who does not know how to pleasure herself is not going to know how a man is going to pleasure her or another woman is going to pleasure her, whatever her choices are.
Right.
You have to own your sexuality. You have to be comfortable with your own body. You don't have to follow anybody and be as comfortable as them. Just be comfortable as what feels good to you. If you can't speak to your partner outside the bedroom about sex, chances are the sex will not improve. Do not do it in the bedroom. Do not do it.
That's too late.
It's also very embarrassing for the other person.
True
Yeah?
that. We'll talk about that.
Find a neutral moment in a neutral spot. Maybe you go out and have a glass of wine or you go out and have an ice cream or whatever. And you say, I like it when you do A, B, or C, but not so much when you do D. So
Mm.
always offer a compliment. There must have been something that you liked. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they want to do something once, but remind them. When you do so and so, it feels so good. Fine. Some couples will never speak about sex, and there's nothing we can do to help them. Yeah? They will never speak to each other about sex. They'll speak to the woman outside and the man outside, but they're never going to speak to each other in a marriage or in a committed relationship.
Right.
So tell the truth. What of narcissistic men? Huh. Whole program.
Run.
That's a
Run.
whole lot. How will you tell? That's a whole program.
Yes,
So
that's a whole program.
tell the truth. Do no harm. Don't set out to harm people psychologically, emotionally, or physically. And telling the truth will help you not to harm people as much. Choose someone who's like you sexually, has the same sexual appetite as you, and you'll have better sex. But make sure they also have the same intellectual interests as you. Because intellect and sexuality make for a great combination. Yeah? And essentially own your sexuality. Nobody gives you an orgasm. You give you an orgasm. Yeah? Own your orgasm, own your sexuality, be responsible for your sexual health and your sexual pleasure. Don't wait on somebody to do it for you. Take control.
The doc, but quickly, you said you made a point and I wanted to, about, oh gosh, the point slipped me.
Hmm.
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. It was about owning your, oh, I was saying, but a lot of women have this challenge.
Hmm.
They get into a sexual relationship with a man
Mm-hmm.
because them have sex one time. Them feel so them fi flag the relationship till death do us part, fit for work because me done have sex with him already.
Yeah.
And them no want rack up the numbers because we no want past 20.
Sandra,
Right?
perfectly right.
Yeah. So
And
how
men,
do you get so what women don't want to do is okay, me have sex with him now work out. It don't look like they're gonna work out. And me no want to leave to go start again because that's a number two. And then we start number three and number three never work out night and Lord Jesus me I reach five.
yes,
And so we stick and try to bend it.
work on the impossible dream.
Yes.
Possible dream.
What do you say to
So
that woman?
that is so true. When I ask a couple, when did the relationship start? The woman and the man rarely have the same date. The woman marks a relationship from the first time she had sex with him. And the man marks a relationship from the first time he told his brethren.
Wow.
His brethren say, you're a woman, you're not his woman.
Wow.
When you're up as wifey, you're not wifey. Okay? So don't
Wow. That's
say,
interesting.
I've seen it 9
Interesting.
times. It's rare. And if you ask them, the man will hesitate and he'll look at her. Well, yeah, and any day she sends, say, we can work with that. And then you say to him, so when did you think the relationship started?
Wow.
Ask him,
Very good point.
it started that day. I said, boy, no, because my brethren say I come down to the studio. And I said, boy, I'm a wifey. That I'm saying, yeah, man, I'm a wifey. Until they claim it, it's not a relationship. Okay?
It's
So don't fool yourself. And sex
true.
and love are not the same thing. And I'll end with this. Love needs sex, but sex doesn't need love.
Not
Sex,
even for the woman. Not even for the woman.
no one. Women and men are exactly the same. It's just that different men and different women come together. And if we would find a person who's like us, we'd quarrel less.
Hallelujah.
Love needs
I can live with that.
love needs sex, but sex does not need love. Sex is good all by itself, and good sex is better. You don't.
Unattached sex. Unattached sex. When I say unattached
Why do
sex,
you think unattached?
uncomplicated sex is
Why?
usually, I suppose. Huh?
No, it don't have to be uncomplicated just because you're not carrying feelings.
No, not carrying feelings necessarily, but the baggage. Like expectations. Expectations.
Well, isn't that the problem? How do
Yeah,
you expect something from somebody you don't know?
that is
Or
true.
you come in with an expectation and you don't really know the person yet. We want to be in love, and we want to love before we even learn who the person is. So you can love somebody you don't know. You can't know.
True that.
Why you think you should have an expectation? That's
Because
unreasonable.
society tell you to have one. I'm just being
Nonsense.
honest. No, I'm just being honest,
Yeah,
Doc.
but
I'm answering the question
yeah,
as it
Sandra,
comes
so
to
many times
mind.
society is not in the bedroom with you. Who is watching you
Say
in this
that again.
bedroom?
Say that
Society,
again.
unless you have a video camera set up, unless you have a video camera set up that will allow you to broadcast your bedroom to the world, please
Good way to end.
take it easy.
Doc, again, priceless. The amount of nuggets, I shall watch this over and over and over and over again because I got so many aha moments. And I'm sure my viewers did too because I see them saying facts, 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 yes, right? And they didn't realize this and so forth. But the truth is, what I got from you is honesty. Be yourself, ask for what you want, choose somebody who is similar to you.
Yes.
You know, this thing about opposites attract, it's only fleeting. This is the second time I'm hearing this on my program. The opposites attract is only fleeting for a short time. You have to choose somebody that you and them have something in common, and you must choose somebody that is sexually your equal. Men, women, I was happy to hear are what you said, more able to have sex, more
opportunities for having sex than men.
Yeah. I was, so therefore we are equal. We are just not claiming our equality. Should I say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So folks, go and sin no more. Go out and claim your sexuality, claim your happiness, speak for what you want. We are equal. It's foolishness that we are suffering silently. Many people, I wouldn't say many of us, but many persons are suffering, many women and men too, because some men don't want to go out and their wives are not, they made it the choice early in life, and now that they want to stay home and be with this one person and that one person is not the equal, then it's a challenge. So thank you so much, Dr. Carpenter. I can't thank you enough. I know you're busy. So I bless you, bless you, bless you. And I shall be tuning in on your program. I do from time to time. So I thank you very much.
Yes.
Folks, like,
Take
share,
care.
subscribe. Thank you, Doc. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you share with your friends. Tell your friends to listen to this program. Lots of nuggets. Lots and lots and lots of nuggets. I mean, we didn't have to take many questions because Doc gave us the real brass tacks truth. And all we really have to do is really to be honest. As she says, society is not in our bedrooms. Society does not control our lives. We control our lives. So really and truly, it's up to you to take happiness in your own hands. You are the ones in charge of your life. So live happy, live sexually, live la vida loca. Because really and truly, it's only one life you have to live. So next week, we will be talking about teaching online. For those of you who have kids, we have an expert in the field that will be talking about the pros and cons of online schooling. So those of you who have kids, you probably don't want to miss that. And then the week after that, you don't want to, we're going to have about 5 fabulous breast cancer survivors who will be telling you, including myself, telling you of our journey of breast cancer as it is Breast Cancer Month. So for you ladies, go out, have your mammograms done, those of you who are over 40. And for those of you who are under 40, do your self-examination, go online, see what that looks like, because early detection is key. If you have family members, sisters, mothers, grandmothers, aunts who are breast cancer survivors, you probably would need to go in for your mammograms earlier. So please Have a fantastic week. See you next week, same time, same place, 8 p.m. on YouTube Live, right? You know I bring you the cold, hard facts. You may not want to hear it, but if you do exercise living truth, you will be living a better life, a happier life. See you next week. God's willing. See you then. Goodbye.